Now let's try to understand the generalization process for other types of transactions. Apart from sales and purchases, a business may have various kinds of transactions which are illustrated in the following next two slides. For example, if a business has to pay wages to its employees in cash, the entry will be wages is a cost, so cost expenses is always a debit, wages debit, cash is going out of the business, so cash will be credit. Whereas for the same transaction at the month end, it is supposed to be payable, but it is paid in the subsequent month. In that case, wages will be debit to wages payable. Now let me introduce here a concept called accrual concept. Any business that which is doing as a period end, it may have some expenses which it might have incurred, but it might not have recorded in the books of accounts. Say for example, wages are paid on 15th of every month. In that case, say if we are closing the books of accounts on 31st, then the wages from 16th to 31st is payable to the employees and it has to be recorded as cost. This is accrual concept. Now let's see the entries for various other types of transactions which a business may undertake, like rent, electricity, software support expenses, etc. In this case, these all are expenses. Expenses is always debit. Expense, you have to debit it and credit the cash if it is paid in cash. If the expense is payable as at the year end based on accrual concept or based on receipt of invoice, in that case we have to do expense debit and credit the expense payable. Now let's look at the some other kind of transaction. Now let's assume we have purchased a fixed asset, like say a computer which may have a useful life of 3 or 4 years. In that case, what is the entry that we will post? So computer is asset that we are getting, so asset is debit, computer debit. If we are paying in cash, to cash. If it is payable to the vendor, to payable. This is one interesting transaction. Whereas when you buy a fixed asset, then you may have to charge a depreciation on it, because at the end of the 3 years its value may become zero, because its resale value will not be there. So in that case, we have to amortize the asset value over its useful life, which will be detailedly explained in the subsequent slides. But the entry for that particular thing will be, so we'll be charging depreciation, which is an expense, as debit, and we will be crediting fixed assets, because this will lead to reduction in the value of fixed assets. Now let's move on to a different type of example. Say sometimes you go to a vendor to purchase the inventory, then he says like no, pay me advance. So in case of advance payment, what happens? So this is like an advance paid to vendor is an asset, because from that we will be getting we'll be getting the purchases, so we'll be debiting advance to vendor to bank. So for example, assume the opposite case where we are saying customer, you pay the advance, I'll subsequently deliver you the good. In that case, we'll be receiving the amount in our bank, so bank account debit to advance from customer. Advance from customer is a liability, so it will be credit. These are the entries that we want to discuss. Now let's look at some practical problems. Now let's look at the first transaction, which is coming under the head other transactions. On 1st Jan 2020, Mr. Works has purchased a laptop of $100 whose useful life is 3 years. Now let's try to record the transaction. Let's assume that this transaction is paid through check. In that case, the entry will be as follows. So this is entry number 13 and the transaction is 1st Jan 2020. He is purchasing a laptop and it's a fixed asset because it has a useful life of greater than 1 year, and it is paid through bank. $100 debit, $100 credit, being the laptop purchased. Now let's look at the subsequent transaction. It is coming as paid wages amounting to $500 to employees paid through check. In this case, he is paying salary to employees amounting to $500 in check. Let's record this transaction, and this transaction happened on 7th Jan 2020. This is a transaction number 14 and it's dated 7th Jan 2020. Wages debit, bank credit, because cash is going out. He is paying $500. B Tejas paid in cash. Now let's look at the subsequent transaction. On 15 Jan he has paid $120 as electricity bill. In that case the transaction recording will be 15th Jan 2020. Electricity expense. Electricity is an expense, so electricity will be debit and it will be paid through bank, and the amount of the transaction is $120. $120. Entry will be being the electricity expenses paid. Now let's look at the next transaction. On 29 Jan he has deposited cash in bank amounting to $5,000. So this is a pretty interesting transaction. Here cash from business is going out and getting deposited into the bank balance which is owned by the company. So here both an asset is getting debited, at the same time an asset is getting credited. So this is a very interesting transaction. So the entry will be bank account debit to cash $5,000. So this is the entry number 16 and it's occurred on 29 Jan 2020 and we are depositing the amount into bank. We are depositing what? Cash. The amount is $5,000. $5,000. The narration will be being amount deposited into bank. Next, on 31st Jan 2020 he is saying like the following expenses have to be accrued: electricity expense, rent expense and wages expense, which has to be payable. So let's create a provision for expense against these three expenses. So ideally you can create electricity expense debit to electricity payable, rent expense debit to rent payable, wages account debit to wages payable. But let's create a GL called provision for expenses to record all these transactions as a liability as at month end. So this will be the entry number 17 and it's dated 31st Jan 2020. The entry will be electricity expenses, wages expenses, and the other one is rent is also payable. And let's create a GL called provision for expenses in which we will park all the provisions relating to year end which are payable. Electricity is 60, wages and rent is 500. So the total provision for expenses is $1,060. And let's record the narration saying that being the expenses accrued. Now let's look at the next transaction. On 31st Jan 2020, check issued to Orange for $5,000. We have so far purchased all the goods from Orange on credit. Now at the end of the month, I think Mr. Work felt like I have to pay some amount to Orange so that I can subsequently keep buying the products. Now let's record the entry. So for this entry, what is happening? We are paying the amount to Orange. So Orange is receiving the amount. So Orange will be debited. Orange Inc will be debited and bank balance is reducing to bank $5,000. So this is the entry number 18 and it's dated 31st Jan 2020. Orange Inc to bank. So we are paying $5,000. $5,000 being Orange Inc paid for can be the narration. Now let's look at the subsequent transaction. In this transaction, what is happening? Mr. Gates, Mr. Cooks and Mr. Jobs, everyone has issued us the checks saying that please take these amounts against the credit sales that we have done, and the same was deposited in the bank. So we will debit the bank because our bank balance is increasing, while we have to credit these parties because these are the parties that are paying us the amounts. Now let's record the 19th transaction. It is dated 31st Jan 2020. We are debiting bank Mr. Gates jobs, Mr. Cook. These are the three parties that were paying us amount. Mr. Gates is paying 200. This guy is paying 300. This guy is paying $385. So total we are receiving is $885. $885. And the narration will be being checks received. Checks received from customers.